Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. Now, in this reading, I was going to start by sensing into the divine masculine collective energy. And the moment I set that intention, I got the overwhelming urge to cry. And what this tells me is that the masculine is processing through the heart chakra a lot of really dense emotions at this time. And if you are listening as a divine feminine and you are connected to a divine masculine who is going through this in this lifetime in the physical world at this moment, then you might be feeling some of this in the form of energy transference because, of course, within twin flame and divine counterparts connections especially, there is a really intense energetic bond that actually really underlies and supersedes, overarches all of our physical interactions, experiences, communication, etc. with our twin flame. Most of this is actually happening at the deeper level of our energy where we are intricately and unbreakably connected to our twin. So whenever our twin is going through something, we are capable of, and in fact cannot help but feel it in our own energy fields. And what I got here most strongly on the masculine energy is the Hierophant card. This is a very powerful card. But this speaks to tradition, traditional values, convention, conformity, even religion. There could be a divine masculine coming through here who I'm getting like a third eye chakra shift, meaning they are clearing out old paradigms and perceptions that may have been through the lens of conformity, through the lens of convention, or even through religion specifically. The number 555 is coming out. I also got a name with the letters HAL, one of those letter initials in the first or last name. It could even be the name Haley or Hallie for someone. But do keep in mind that whenever I channel specific words, names, or details, these are typically meant for specific individuals. So if it doesn't resonate with you, the message still could be for you. I just like to channel these details as they come through. Now, with that being said, if you would like me to channel specifically for you and your situation, I do recommend liking the video and also subscribing to this channel because these are both forms of energy transference that do allow me to pick up more easily on your energy and the energy of your situation. Now, along with the Hierophants, we have the 9 of Wands in the upright position. And really what's standing out from this card is a masculine who is learning from some kind of what his ego would consider to be a failure or a mistake from the past. There is this determination at a soul core level on the part of the masculine to no longer repeat old cycles and patterns. But there's also this sense of tiredness, of fatigue emotionally. There's almost this feeling of drain from fighting these old patterns. I feel like a lot of this is happening actually at the subconscious level. So the masculine himself in his physical form may not even be fully consciously aware of how much he's been fighting at a soul level to expand, to evolve. And I keep getting this density that the masculine is almost being sent from a wounded masculine collective. And I know that sounds really strange. I almost wanted to call it a psychic attack. I might do a separate video on how many twin flames and divine counterparts are under what we could think of as a psychic attack, although I don't fully resonate with the connotations that sometimes come with that term. There are a lot of really really fear-producing connotations with that term, and I don't really mean it in that way. I mean that whenever there is a lot of lights around a connection, such as is burning really brightly around a twin flame connection, there is always going to be the triggering of a lot of shadow. And I've spoken on this in previous readings from a really personal level, meaning how you, for example, if you're a divine feminine, might be experiencing this triggering of shadow in others or even within your own self as your own light becomes increasingly bright, increasingly illuminated within yourself. But I haven't spoken so much on how connections, meaning the bond between two souls, whenever this bond carries a lot of what we think of as light, a lot of very high vibrational energy, a lot of energy that is in resonance with unconditional love or in very close resonance to those very high, pure frequencies of love. This is highly triggering to a collective unconscious that then will unconsciously react to that light. So it's not that these quote unquote psychic attacks that happen to twin flames are always intentional. It's sometimes the unconscious triggering of collective shadow that others are not yet willing to consciously face within themselves. And then there is this projection back out onto twin flames collectively. So again, let me know in the comments if you are someone who is on a twin flame path and you would like to hear more about these so-called psychic attacks, because within the last few months especially, twin flames have been going through this. And if you are a twin flame and you find that you begin to start to experience deeper connection with your twin, and then all of a sudden it feels like something begins to unravel, to spiral down, to fall apart, know that you could be experiencing some of this psychic attack, really this unconsciously projecting energy from a triggered collective shadow. So yeah, we have with the Four of Wands reversed. This can speak to a postponed or canceled reunion, and this might speak to exactly what this divine masculine, in a sense, is grieving. It's ironic though, because I'm hearing that if you're a divine feminine listening to this reading, you might think that your divine masculine counterpart isn't grieving this postponed or delayed reunion state together in the physical, because in the 3D, his actions from your perspective may have even led to this what I'm calling here the postponed or delayed reunion. Now, do keep in mind that for those of you connecting here as twin flames, we are all on different waves of consciousness, so we don't necessarily experience these shifts and changes energetically at the same time. So what you're experiencing might be different than what I'm channeling here. And as I always say, use your intuition above all else when it comes to all of my readings, all of these channeled messages. But the dominant card that I just feel sitting so heavily on this divine masculine's heart spaces, I want you to see the real me now. I've been hiding from our love for too long. For some reason, I heard the name Anthony for someone. And the words suddenly planning came out from the love word scramble. So what I'm getting here, I heard I want to see you again. And I feel even this masculine's conscious self making plans or daydreams to create some kind of a reconnection or a deeper connection in the physical world with his divine feminine counterpart. But right as I was channeling that, I felt this fear, this anxiety coming up in the solar plexus chakra, which tells me that what could be preventing this masculine from fully moving forward on those daydreams, those plans, those ideas, is that he is still in the process of building this authentic sense of himself, and at times feeling a little bit lost in life or just in the world generally. even though he's not really lost, he is being divinely deconstructed in order to reconstruct an authentic version of himself upon those ashes that we refer to as the ego death stage of spiritual awakening. Can I get another card? And right as I said that, we had the death card. And this card stands for spiritual transformation in this scenario. That's really what I'm picking up on here. The masculine himself is grieving, is letting go of past versions and perspectives in order to shift into a new beginning. And in fact, I'm getting that if there was a delayed or postponed reunion state between a feminine and masculine here, it may have been because the masculine's 3D self tried to move forward into a new beginning in the physical, into a reunion with the physical to whom he feels a lot of love with the divine feminine. Because he felt this love for the feminine and wanted to push things ahead from this conscious perspective. But at a spiritual level, I feel he was still holding on to dense patterns, paradigms, old perspectives that created some kind of a separation in the physical world or delayed this reunion, or somehow, I keep hearing the word sabotage, like it almost feels like this reunion was sabotaged in some way. We also got the card, I want to contact mutual friends to ask about you. So if there's very little or no communication in the physical at this time with this person, I'm sensing that I just heard curious, like this masculine is really curious as to what you are up to, divine feminine, what is going on in your 3D life. But spirit is really pushing him at this time if there is a physical separation, especially if there is little to no communication. Spirit is pushing him to tap into the divine feminine essence within himself, rather than to seek it externally, to utilize you, physical divine feminine listening, as a bridge to connecting with his own inner emotionality. In the past, I'm hearing that this masculine may have been allowed by spirit to an extent to utilize the physical presence of the divine feminine as a sort of crutch to get to know, or to kind of begin to open the door to his own inner spiritual side, to his own inner emotionality. But the thing is, and this plays into what I was speaking about in the last reading and on my Instagram. By the way, you can follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself. I do post a lot of further twin flame energy updates and information through that Instagram. But in a recent Instagram post, I spoke on the 3D to 5D shift. And this came up in the last reading video on Wednesday as well. And this plays in so heavily to twin flame connection. Do let me know if you want an entire podcast just on how this increasing divide between the 3D and the 5D is affecting how twin flames connect or disconnect in the physical world as well. Because the thing is, again, in the past, this masculine may have been able to utilize the physical presence of the divine feminine as a sort of crutch, or really a catalyst, I guess might be a kinder word, to begin connecting, to really just begin, I see like a door cracking open, just slightly opening the door to his own emotionality, his own inner spiritual self. But at some point in time, I hear spirit saying the training wheels had to come off, because what happened is I feel this masculine got so accustomed to using the divine feminine as his external sense of emotion, emotional compass, perhaps even externalizing his own intuition in the form of the physical divine feminine. So he wasn't learning how to access his own inner intuition, how to reconnect fully with his own emotional self. So at some point, the divine said, okay, the training wheels need to come off. It's time for you, divine masculine, to reconnect with your inner divine feminine nature within yourself, instead of utilizing the external form of the feminine to emotionally self-connect in this way. You are ready. So it's like he was pushed off the ledge into the depths of himself. And this has been a very scary process for the divine masculine. Now, of course, my guides are reminding me that this energy is mirrored to the opposite within the divine feminine. So for the divine feminine, there was this same dynamic going on for many feminines. There was this attempt to utilize the external physical form of the divine masculine that they may have been connecting with to give them a sense of structure, of stability, of support. I'm hearing a validation for what they are experiencing as a twin flame. You may have felt like, am I going crazy? And really been seeking validation from this external divine masculine to validate your spiritual, esoteric experiences, especially when it came to this twin flame path. But at some point, Spirit, just as the divine masculine was pushed the divine feminine as well, saying, okay, any way in which you may have been utilizing the external divine masculine, the physical divine masculine, as a bridge for connecting with your own sense of inner stability, your inner self-support, your ability to structure and to back your dreams and goals with action and with self-supportive motion in the physical world. Any way in which that has been outsourced to your physical divine masculine is now no longer going to be available to you, pushing you within yourself. And essentially in this way, at the higher energetic level, both twin flame counterparts here have been pushed into the depths of integration. And in different ways, this has been scary, of course, for both of them, because it's pushed them into practicing finding that opposite polarity and stabilizing that energy, reconnecting with that energy within themselves, whether that's the internal divine masculine or the internal divine feminine. And then really beginning that process of integrating that opposite polarity into their own being, finding a total wholeness and balance within themselves, from which stance they become highly magnetic within, not just for reconnection and harmonious union with one another, but also for manifesting effortlessly through this pulling power of wholeness, of total integration within the self. So, wow, very powerful messages coming through in this reading. And to continue these messages in the extended reading, I will be channeling more information for each counterpart, both the divine masculine and divine feminine here, on how this integration process has been feeling for each of them at this time, how this has been affecting them. So for the divine masculine, how it's been emotionally self-reconnecting to his inner divine feminine essence, and for the divine feminine, how she has been experiencing reconnecting with her inner divine masculine. So again, all of this will be channeled in the extended reading in our beautiful soul tribe on Patreon. I just saw the number 1818 as a beautiful sign of confirmation for someone as well. So if you would like to join me in the extended reading, the link to it will be in the pinned comment and description box under this video. But what I'm getting so strongly from the masculine here is, with the failure card reversed again, speaking to the previous message, many divine masculines are feeling a lot of regrets, even if they aren't speaking this aloud to the divine feminine, because I do see many of them being very stoic, or I see like someone with their mouth completely closed, like not speaking what they're really feeling, letting it just kind of brew and unfold within them. But Spirit is pushing the masculine into those feelings of failure, those feelings of regrets, because through feeling them and experiencing them, only then will he be able to fully self-analyze those patterns of self-sabotage where he may have been, and I see a lot of sacral chakra energy coming from this, of fear of intimacy, of fear of connecting, especially emotionally. In fact, for many masculines, they may have used physical, intimate connection or romancing in the physical world as a cover for the fact that they were terrified of true intimacy, of true emotional connection. And Spirit is pushing them into that through those feelings of regret, through those feelings of failure. For many of them, the word isolation is coming up again. So they might be put in a place where they are alone with these feelings, but all for the higher level purpose of allowing the old paradigms, perceptions, ideologies to melt away and to give way to this essentially new earth that the masculine is beginning to stabilize within his inner world that will then reflect externally. And when I say new earth, of course, I'm speaking about the shift from a 3D mentality and mindset to a 5D mentality. And I got a little sidetracked earlier because I was going to share on, again, this 3D to 5D split and how this is affecting twin flames. I know I said I would do a separate podcast video on this if there's interest in the future, but I do want to just share a few things that feel really important to share about this. And this is that if you found that with your twin in recent months or years, it felt like things were beginning to come together, and then all of a sudden there was this unraveling, there was this falling apart. It felt almost like divinely you were being blocked, but your soul recognized this as a twin flame or a divine counterpart connection. You knew with all of your heart and soul that this was your twin flame, that this was a divine counterpart. And yet it felt like fate or destiny or the divine was just pulling you apart or separating you or sabotaging you in some way. It's not that you were being sabotaged. It's that you, especially those who connect as the divine feminines, have been shifting your energy, shifting your vibration to the point where you are beginning to practice these very higher level vibrations consistently that have placed you mostly in this fifth dimension mentality and way of being and way of living. And there was a tipping point where, because you had consistently practiced these higher vibrations, it became much more difficult to lower yourself to those lower vibrational conversations, experiences, interactions that we think of as being in the 3D. Because again, you'd become so accustomed to living in this higher vibrational state of being. However, for many of you, you have a divine masculine who's playing catch up, which isn't exactly accurate. It's not that one is catching up to the other. It's that they are working in different realms. They are working in opposite polarities of the energy body. So for the divine feminine, and I have many videos on this and may create more in the future, but for divine feminines, they start from the crown chakra and work their way down. For the masculines, they start from the root chakra and work their way up. But the thing is, those lower 3 chakra centers, the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, are much denser and therefore vibrate more slowly than the upper 3 chakras, the crown, the third eye, the throat. And because of this, there comes a point where when the divine feminine is vibrating at this very, very high level, whereas the masculine is still transmuting these denser energies, they have to meet energetically at the heart space, at the middle, so to speak, before the circumstances in the physical can then align with that energetic meeting of the two counterparts and manifest effortlessly, naturally, unfold that physical reunion state between them. But again, when the divine feminine begins vibrating very, very high frequencies and the masculine is still in this dense energy, there is often this period of time where things appear to be separate or to be pulled apart in the physical to allow each counterpart to focus on mostly that transmutation of energy, reaching what we could think of as an energetic reunion at the heart center so that they can fully meet or reconnect or harmoniously unite in the physical world as a byproduct of that meeting at the heart. But again, with this 3D to 5D split, because there's this divide in consciousness that is increasing, what is happening is for twin flames, if your twin is still very much stuck in these 3D mentalities, these what we think of as being plugged into the matrix ways of thinking, your access to them in the physical world may actually be lessened as you remain in the 5D, but temporarily, which is really pushing them to transmute those denser energies and to meet you at the heart space to vibrate into a higher vibrational version of themselves. And the strongest overarching message I was just getting from my guides is trust the process. The city of Rome came out here, so that might be significant to someone listening. I'm also just getting something about Italy in general for someone. But I do want to channel a bit into the divine feminine energy here as well. So what is going on for divine feminines listening to this reading? So here we have the World card reversed. And right away I heard the message that your greatest breakthroughs are happening, divine feminine, through what appear to be breakdowns to your physical human self. And in fact, at times you might feel like your energy has stagnated, or a certain situation that really matters to you has stagnated, whether it's in life or in a love situation. I keep hearing victory is right around the corner, but to your ego, it feels like you've been stuck. It feels like you're no longer moving at times. In fact, for many divine feminines, it might even feel like time is moving really strangely. Or if you look back over the last several weeks or months or even years, you might get this feeling as though time has been moving simultaneously very, very fast and also very, very slow, which I know sounds like a very, very strange energetic experience. But for those of you divine feminines feeling this, I know that you will understand where I'm coming from with this. It just feels like time has almost lost some of its meaning. And I hear your guides saying that's because time never really had any meaning, because you are learning that everything is about energy alignments and not about what we traditionally think of as timing. We also got the card 7 of Cups upright. This can stand for dreams. So some of you divine feminines might have really vivid dreams recently, but also this card can stand for lots of options and choices and possibilities. I heard possibilities of different potential timelines opening up to you, but I'm also getting this sense of overwhelm from this. So for many of you divine feminines, you might have this feeling of being at these choice points along your path in life or in love. You might have this sense that there are many available routes and options for you to take. In love, for some of you, if you're single, if you're dating, you might find that there are many potential options or routes for you to take in love. But for some reason, I keep hearing your guides say, but in truth, there is only one route. This is so strange. It's like from your 3D perspective, you're seeing all these different choice points, these different paths, these different options, whether it's in a job, a work situation, a life or love situation. But the higher self knows that there's only one path, and it is the path of vibrating into close alignment with your highest version of self. And what I'm seeing is almost like the difference between being on a road, standing on a road and seeing all of these different potential forks in the road that you could take. The difference between that and then being in an airplane and rising far above the ground and suddenly being able to see the larger perspective and having immediate access to anything you desire to see, to create, to experience. That is the kind of manifestation and attraction power you are coming into, divine feminine. Others would have you to believe that you're limited by the choices or options that appear to be in front of you, but Spirit is trying to put you in the airplane, raise you up to a bird's eye perspective, and show you that you have the whole world at your fingertips, that you have immediate access to anything you want to experience, but that's the only choice truly to be made is the choice to get into the airplane and to allow yourself to rise to that higher vibrational perspective from which you will receive the clarity that you desire. Because I'm seeing for some divine feminines, when you are presented with so many different potential timelines, potential routes or options, there might be confusion generated from the conscious mind. But I feel your higher self saying, choose to get into the airplane. Choose to go with the perspective of your higher self. Vibrate up instead of trying to make a choice out, if that makes sense. And in the extended version of the reading, I will be channeling Divine Feminine, more messages from your spirit guides, from your higher self, about potential choices you may be facing in life or love recently. Also in the extended reading, I will be channeling higher self messages from both the divine masculine and the divine feminine counterparts to one another. So what they really want to say or communicate at a higher self level to one another, as well as any other messages that want to come through for twin flames, for divine counterpart situations at this time. So again, the link to the extended reading is in the pinned comments and description box under this video. But for now, I'm going to channel one final message by pulling a card from the Rumi Oracle deck. So what is one final message for twin flames listening to this reading? And we have the Merciful Mother Jamal. So I'm going to read just a little bit from the guidebook here. O sudden resurrection, O countless blessings, O blazing fire in the jungle of thoughts, today you arrive with laughter to break open the jail. Rumi. And the guidebook also says, you blazing angel, capable of so much, you evoke the testing hand of life. Why not when you cannot fail? Yet in your sweet surrender, how can the great beloved not respond in kind and offer you solace, comfort, and mercy? For not all success must be hard won. Can you imagine this? The sweet face of the all-powerful. It shines upon you as the love emanating from the Holy Mother's eyes, the golden radiance of her body, and the gentleness of her touch. This is your birthright now, your divine inheritance, the mercy of the All-Merciful. Let it soften the hard edges of your life and your being, and bring to you the grace that is deserved. So that feels like a beautiful place to close this reading. If anything from this reading resonated with you, I would love to hear from you in the comments under this video. Thank you for being such a powerful, essential co-creator here on this channel on YouTube. I do invite you to subscribe and join our community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings here on YouTube. If you would now like to head over with me to the extended reading on Patreon, the link to that is in the pinned comment and description box under this video. Otherwise, I am wishing you a beautiful weekend, and I will talk to you again in Monday's reading.